a blessed day for everyone. We are the Group 1, which our task is to prove and justify the first Mass in Masao Butuan. We believe that the first Mass was held in Masao Butuan. Here are some of the evidences that will support our side. Official Philippine history says the first Mass was held in Limasawa, but Catholic historiography and the tradition point to Butuan as the site of the first Mass.
In 2001, a group of local experts made another confirmatory discovery for the Butuan claim. The expert, Wilfredo Roncalio, chief archaeologist of the National Museum of the Philippines, Dr. Yolanda Aguilar, geologist and paleontologist, Roberto de Ocampo, chief geologist of the National Museum, and Dr. Ricardo Javelosa, chief geomorphologist of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, testified that Pinamangkulan Hills were but an island during episode V of its geological formation, that is, between 500 years EAD and until the 18th century. Interestingly, for 300 years during the Spanish colonial period, the Catholic Church in the Philippines believed in the Butuan tradition that the first Mass in the country was held there. In his Liber Evangelica in 1663, Jesuit Superior Father Francisco Colin wrote on Easter Day in the territory of Butuan, the first Mass ever offered in these parts was celebrated and a cross planted. Magellan then took possession of the islands in the name of the Emperor and of the Crown of Castile.
Nowhere in Pigafetta and Albo's account was there any mention of the word Limasawa. Amalia pointed out instead, he said, what the primary sources recorded was that the first Mass was held in a place called Mazawa. The exact word is Kiama Mazawa and called is Mazawa. The Butuan City Heritage Society, of which Amalia is a leading member, contains that Mazawa was a Deltic island at the mouth of the Gusan River in Butuan in 1521. Through the years, siltation and other geologic factors fused the island into the Mindanao mainland.
Noted Amala. Early maps spot Mazawa and its variants, such as Mazakwa, Masana, and Misana, as an island beside Butuan, which was also characterized as an island by such early cartographers as Giacomo Gastaldi, whose map was published in 1554, and Giovanni Battisti's Ramosio, whose map appeared in 1563. By the time Abraham Ortelius' map came out in 1570, Butuan and a place called Misana were depicted side by side inside the Mindanao mainland. Using an interdisciplinary approach in his historical investigation, Amala said, alone among the different Philippine language Tausug as the word Masawa, which meant bright light, the light before that prompted Magellan to land in Mazawa. In the northern shores of today's Butuan is a barangay called Masao.
In 1986, Asian scientists found a graben in Butuan. A graben is ball-like depression of the land caused by the subsidence or sinking of a series of blocks of the Earth's crust. This graben separated Pinamangkulan Hills, which is beside Barangay Masao and where the current Butuan Airport is located, from the mainland mass of Mount Mayapay in the southwest. In his manuscript, Amala said the Asian expert concluded that the graben or fissures indicated that there were islands that existed many years ago in the said location and they have ramped up and have used themselves beside the Mindanao mainland due to siltation, erosion, and seismic action. When the graben was filled up and the islands in the area have fused together, nobody had documented them, and no naked eye of today can say the
As the site of first Eucharistic celebration in the Philippines, said by Father Joselio Amalia of the Diocese of Butuan, whose scholarly work Mazawa Controversy Truth Uncovered. Commissioned by then President of the Catholic Bishops Conference of the Philippines, Bishop Nero Odchimar of Tandag, Surigao del Sur is ready for publication. The distance and directions traveled by Magellan do not point to Limasawa at all. Besides, Limasawa has a rocky shoreline which cannot be a natural harbor, as mentioned in the journals, and it is too small and rough to have a rice field, which would take 2 days to harvest, and it has no gold mines, no kingdoms, no oral tradition documenting such an encounter unlike in Butuan. Moreover, the primary documents mentioned 2 balangay boats accosting Magellan flagship when they neared Mazawa Island, with the king of Mazawa in one of the balangay. Pigapita also mentioned several times the abundance of gold in the island, which Limasawa was very different from the description, because we all know that place is not abundance of gold. So it is very clear that Butuan where the first mass was held. In fact, according to Greg Hontiveros on his book The Butuan of 1,000 Years, contended that the Masao estuary in today's Butuan was one site of the ancient trading harbor, well-respected kingdom of Butuan. In its embankments were found the balangay, the largest, oldest, and sturdiest seafaring vessels in Southeast Asia. In fact, most of gold pieces in Central Bank's gold collection on permanent exhibit at the Metropolitan Museum of Manila are from the archaeological findings in Butuan.
The first documented Catholic Mass in Philippines was held on March 31, 1521, Easter Sunday. It was conducted by Father Pedro de Valderrama of Ferdinand Magellan Expedition, along the source of what was referred in the journals of Antonio Pigafetta as Mazawa.